I'm Marianne Obst. I'm the complex abdomen specialist at Regents Hospital, a Level 1 Trauma Center in St. Paul. And I have a passion for helping patients with enteric fistulas, necrotizing soft tissue injuries, and kind of other complex wounds. I frequently get questions like, how do you do that? Or can you explain the steps on that procedure? And so decided to create a series of fistula fun on Fridays, also complex wounds videos too, to share some knowledge and some techniques that I've found to be effective. Please remember to hit the subscribe button to become part of our team. You can find more information at complexwounds.com, and I hope you enjoy today's session. Okay, welcome to episode 1 of our video series, the pouch flange sandwich. So I have found a way to really stop leaks with pouching, and I want to share it with all of you. I really feel that this technique will get you into a good pattern of a Monday, Thursday change or a Tuesday, Friday change. So the technique is very simple. I'm going to go through it like 3 times, and then we're actually going to do it on a hands-on presentation of it. So this gentleman, you can see, has a fistula in the middle. We're putting the barrier rings away from the edge of the fistula, putting paste on the inside of the fistula barrier ring, and then cutting the pouch bigger so that I can see the barrier ring all the way around. And then another barrier ring sandwiching the pouch between the two. And then another round of paste, and then a whole bunch of powder. This technique is super simple and it will guarantee you a great pouching success. So here's another example. I'll go a little bit faster. You know, very dirty skin obviously needs to be washed up really great. I love Vashe. That's my favorite go-to. Set down your barrier ring, paste on the inside and outside, put the barrier or the pouch down with the barrier ring, sealing it with the pouch flange sandwich. Again, clean up the skin with Vashe. You see he's got infected mesh and a cute little fistula. You're going to put your barrier rings, paste on the inside and the outside. The barrier or the wound manager pouch is made bigger than the barrier ring, so you can see the barrier rings through. Add paste, add another barrier ring, paste and powder. Same thing, dry the skin with, or clean the skin with hypochlorous solution. Put down your barrier ring with paste on the inside and the outside, and then put down the wound manager and paste and powder. And directions to the team. Okay, so now let's try and do this with our hands. So if we're starting with this, you can see we have a cute little fistula here in the middle of our screen. And so all the things that I need are kind of all set around. So like I was talking about before, I like to wash the skin with Vashe, but if they're too tender, sometimes I'll take a gauze and I'll put it over the fistula, and then I just dump 4% topical lidocaine. And you can't use lidocaine gel or some of the creams. It has to be the topical elixir, because then the fistula won't get slippery when you put your pouching system down. And then after that, then the Vashe comes back in and I scrub up their skin because they can tolerate it now because they're all numb, right? Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is use my favorite new skin protectant. It's called Cavilon Advanced Skin Protectant. It's totally different than the Cavilon Advanced No Stain Barrier Spray that you're used to. And so we're going to put that actually on the skin that is red. And this stuff is so amazing. If you have bleeding skin, this will actually stop the bleeding, and then you actually have a great pouching surface to do your work. So the next thing I do is I love these barrier rings that are 4-inch and flat. They're real thin, and I like that. And it just really helps me to make that pouch flange sandwich. So I start by cutting them into rings like this. And then you're going to put it about 1/2 centimeter back from where the red skin is. So like areas that are like this, we're going to go back a little bit. We don't want to get onto that red area at all. We already protected the skin, so you don't have to worry about too much if there's any intact skin sticking out. And then I'm just going to cut a little bit more for this. Then we get to this little area where there's a crease. And so sometimes at this point, I might want to double this up just to make it a little bit sturdier. So I might take a piece like this and cut like a little trivet out of it, just like that. Everything's sticking to me. And I'll put the trivet here and I meld it in good. And then I'll finish the top again with the barrier ring. And you don't have to worry too much about these little areas that are connected. You can kind of work them together with your scissors. This makes some people nervous, but I always tell them not to worry. And so I'm making that nice false like skin level, if that makes sense. I'm just going to back this up so it's not too close to the skin. Then the next thing I like to do is take paste. Now you've already numbed them up, but you always warn your patient if you're going to put paste on them because sometimes it stings. So I'll just be like, hey, count backwards from 60 and it won't sting so bad. And then you're going to go on the inside of the barrier ring. It doesn't like to stick to this board so well. And less is more at this point. And then I just take my finger and just make sure that it's nice and sealed on the inside. Anywhere there's a little crease like this, you can just add a little bit of paste on either side, just like that. So beautiful. Here's another little crease. And then let's not forget about the outside. That's just as important as the inside. So I just go around the outside. Woohoo! It's good times. At this point, I really am hoping that this fistula doesn't go crazy, but that's why it's always great to grab a team member with suction nearby because it kind of really helps. So this little gal has big enough fistula that we're probably going to use a little bit bigger wound manager. So I'm measuring it with the template that they have in the wound manager itself. And then I'm not good at flipping things over. So then I just go into the interior and I just pen it up. It doesn't have to be perfect because we got these nice barrier rings that we can work around. And then you're just going to cut this free. Very helpful if you give your patient like tincture of opium and take away their drinks and stuff about an hour beforehand. It makes it much easier to put these things on when you're not fighting a bunch of fistula effluent coming flying out. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Maybe a little off the side. So this is also the time where I try and figure out like, is this a person that stays in bed all the time? Because if they are, then we probably want the the tail kind of off to the side so that we can dump it into a Foley bag or a, extra volume bag to the side. Or is it a person that gets up and is going to drain it in the bathroom themselves? Okay, so you can see I'm landing this manager on the barrier rings so that I can actually see the barrier rings. This is the pouch flange sandwich. This is the key to it all. And so you really want these guys to become friends. So you're going to kind of work this guy in just a titch, and these little areas where there's like that little jump up, just push it down. No problem. No problem. Then another barrier ring. This time it doesn't need to be nearly as big. You can use the insides. And the key to this is that you are sandwiching. Got me. You're sandwiching this edge in the middle, like it's the meat or the bologna. And then this, I know it's all the same color, is going to seal that off. So you won't be able to see that edge anymore. So this is the most important part of the whole technique, is making sure that this sandwiching of the barrier rings happens with the wound manager's bottom half tucked in here. Ta-da, 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 just like that. I feel like it does a better job if you sing a little bit. And then up here, we're going to polish this right off. And this really doesn't take that long. And these extra steps really make all the difference in your patient's safety for leaking and that kind of thing. And then you'd be like, oh, we're done. But nope, one more round of paste. Just take a second. The second go around of paste, if you want to be a little more generous and really goop it up in there, I think that's great. It just really helps with the seal all the way around. But the fun part is this next one. I love powder. And so you're going to just powder the heck out of all this for two reasons. One reason is you don't want the lid of the wound manager to stick. The second reason is that all these little micro leaks that can be inside of this system, you're going to kind of pat it down and see how nice that looks. can feel if there's any areas of leaky or stickiness. Ooh, that's awesome. So that is the entire pouch flange technique. Obviously, for this particular manager, you have to blow up the floating flange here, which is very helpful when you're trying to keep poop from sitting on the lid, and then you cork it, right? Then you got to get rid of some of that powder that you just put all over. And then if you want, you can take some Curlex and put it on the inside. I usually start out with Curlex and then have the nurses take it out every couple of hours, but you don't have to. And then they kind of, as they graduate, you just get them into just the plain old wound manager without the Curlex. Of course, the lid is always the hardest to put on. There we go. Oh, we got it. And then don't forget about the edges. The edges, I really like to have either these C-rings. And when you place these, the important thing is that you get them half on the manager and half off. So like she had that big crease right here. Do you guys remember that? So I'm going to put one down and then I'm going to follow it up with another one. Just like that. Ooh, that's beautiful. And then the rest of it, you can just put either like Metapore tape, or I like to use like these little Tegaderms. They work really nicely. That came off that way. And then you can do that all the way around. Don't forget to cork the bottom or hook it to a gravity drainage. And then I like to put directions to the nurses, something like this that says like open at the top. And then to make it super clear, I make an arrow and a right top. All right, and that is your pouch flange sandwich. Have a fun Fistula Friday. Okay, folks, well, that's the end of our first Fistula Fun on Fridays, the pouch flange sandwich. I hope you had fun and learned some fun technique tips. I look forward to seeing you in the future, and you can send any questions or comments to our website at complexwounds.com. Thank you.